county as we roll out at the district level. So just as a refresher, take your baggie on your table and work as a team and put the phonological awareness continuum in order from easiest to hardest. And I'll give you a little bit of a heads up in that it's a little more detailed than the one you did in training. It has a little bit more information in it. Okay? So work as a team. When you think you've got it in the right order, raise your hand and we'll bring you the cheat sheet that lets you know what you need to move your
That's the same.
Jumping to a table, they're sorting the continuum. When you think you've got it, raise your hand for the cheat sheet.
Whatever you want to do.
I know. You're going that way.
On your awareness.
You're good. You're good. No, I'm with you now.
You got it right. Last time. Oh, now I know what you're saying. Yeah,
We didn't know
okay.
if they would choose.
Like, which one was first or which one was
Voucher says individual phonemes.
I didn't see where you that first, that takes it away, and to add something. We're doing
This one's last. I know this one's last. Switch. Look, this one. There.
Oh, we can.
I know you.
I know that this.
Oh, I did not see that. I don't know where I got it. What would be the? It's identifying.
Remember
Saying offset lines.
No, I was right there.
But I like to have this, right?
Okay, now check yourself.
On a lot of
Is this right?
You're fine, you're fine.
If you say,
and then last year I did.
Right, that's not
I got it on
So when
right. I went for like.
Yeah, because that would be.
I like how you're like, I don't even care. We're waiting for this to come in. That may not look like yours.
I had to
And then I can take apart.
Wait, so like.
But that's why I was
Remember these can be, so addition is added.
Go. What's the after?
Her is too
Maybe we can.
Down here.
Yes,
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, don't help them out. Okay, go ahead and put those back in your baggie.
We're like,
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next activity. You did better on this than you did in training, right? There you go, that means you're learning. Okay, I need you to put your pieces back in your baggie and I'll get up some glue sheets.
Oh, I already have to No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Yours close.
All right, today we're going to be talking about phonemic awareness, phonics, multisensory approaches, and with explicit and systematic techniques, and doing a few teacher tips, okay? So, what I want you to think about now is you've been immersed deeply into learning. So, I want you to be able to have a chance to see what are happening already in your daily practice. So, we're talking about the difference of science of reading or roots versus balanced literacy. And I know you're still hearing terms, reading wars and balanced literacy and things like that. I'm going with what the state's teaching us on science of reading. So, I want you to look at what you're learning about in science of reading, okay? Balanced literacy is it's a multitude of things, okay? But we're looking at how we're changing and growing according to roots. And what I want you to do is grab a highlighter. I want you to read down the left-hand side of the column, science of reading, which is, and Springdale's term for it is roots. The state's term is science of reading or RISE. I want you to read the left-hand side column. Okay, I'm going to pass that out. And I want you to, if you are already seeing that change in your practice, if you're going, oh, I'm trying that, I want you to highlight it. Okay, let me pull up this sheet. Right there. So on this left-hand side, I want you to read, the right side is balanced literacy. We're shifting to the science of reading or roots. I want you to read down through this left-hand side, and if you're already starting to do those things, or you've learned about them and you're practicing, and you're just starting to apply these things, highlight it. Okay? Just like, check, oh, I'm trying that. Check, oh, I'm trying that.
Oh, there you go.
Was it on the hand?
See what you're already trying.
I just don't think we'll do that. I know, I think.
Look at you, after already 2 days of training, look how much you're already learning and trying.
I know.
She's in kindergarten.
So it says reading, like little text which provide insufficient.
You're on balance.
I know, but I'm trying to, I know. I'm trying to explain it.
I know, I just don't think, I
Okay, so take a minute now. Look at something that you've learned, that you're trying now on the science of reading side. I'm an East, I'm visionary. I wanted to be able to share with you the big picture. So the science of reading, all of this is the big picture of where we're heading. Turn with a partner and share something you highlighted that you've already, you're trying, that you're learning. You're like, I'm starting to see this in my practices or my plan. Turn and share with somebody next to you.
Because it goes around the moon, around the street,
Little morphology, you probably didn't want to get.
I know, right?
One more minute to share. One more minute to share.
Right, use my iron.
Okay, question. Back to me. Are you doing more now than you were doing in August?
Yes.
Celebration. Celebration. Sometimes we get so deep and thick into the learning process, we forget to stop and celebrate where we've been and where we're going, and just to celebrate the small baby steps of the successes that we've had. So look at your sheet. If you've got anything highlighted, it's a celebration, because we're learning and now we're applying. So that's the purpose of doing this activity today, to provide clarity to you about where we've been over here and where we're going with the science of reading and roots. Okay? Now, the next piece, to give you a little more clarity, I'm going to give you, now this is really phonics, but phonemic awareness blends into phonics. I'm going to give you a big picture for K1 and 2-4. First of all, this is for what must be mastered. This is actually from, and I'm going to show you where I got this from. This is from the State Department's website. They have a website that's dedicated to phonemic awareness, to phonics. Look here, phonological awareness. They have a whole website full of stuff, okay? They also have all these questions like, what resources are available? What is it? Where do I find stuff? How do I teach it? How does this sound? There's a website for phonological awareness. There's a website for phonics, okay? There's all kinds of things on the State Department website, so I wanted to quickly show you that. And then there's a website called Making Meaning. It's on the state's website. It's right through here on Reading Initiatives for RISE. RISE Arkansas, and Springdale's Plan Its Roots, and it follows RISE. You'll see that there's all kinds of resources down here. Talks about the 5 components of reading, and then you go and it says it's all about the meaning. There's a whole website about it's all about the meaning. There's a lot of good resources there, okay? I'm not spending time on that today, though. I'm just showing you where I got the resources. And I also had a training from the State Department, and they gave us a lot of tools to help you all, okay? So, this one, I'm going to give you a handout. This is another big picture. This is phonics. This is K1, and this is 3-5, 3-2-4. I think we have enough to get one of each, but if you're a K, give them the K1 first and then 3-4. I'm going to show you up here while they're passing out. Okay. What you need to know is like, oh my gosh, syllables, phonemic awareness. We have our continuum. How do we know what they need to be mastered and when? Okay? This is another big picture, so it doesn't look so overwhelming to you. Okay? So, right here, kindergarten. Kindergarten's whole world is syllable types. Kindergarten is working on closed syllable, BC and CBC. Open syllables go and by all the letters and sound correspondences, initial, final, and medial sounds, okay? And then common high frequency words, meaning words that they encounter when they're reading that can be decoded, that they have to learn as sight words, okay? Not flashing sight words like we learned in training, but actually analyzing the words. That's kindergarten's world, right there. That's BAM, that's what they're doing all year long, okay? Now this is only decoding. Decoding is taking the sounds and breaking them apart while you're reading. Encoding is writing it, and they have to do encoding as well. I'm only spending time on decoding today. First grade, your whole world is syllable types, closed, open, silent E, vowel teams, R control. Decoding skills are letter sound correspondences, blending, digraph, TH, SH, CH, it lines it out for you. This goes with our continuum that we shared with you, but our continuum is just like what you just did, where you put it from the easiest to the hardest. The continuum we have here at George is the easiest to the hardest in phonics and phonemic warning, so you can see the big picture because our kids fall all along that spectrum, okay? So, first grade gets into morphemic units, they get into syllable division, how to divide VCCB words and VCB words, okay? Now looking at the next one, 2 through 4, look what happens. Second grade, this is all second grade, syllable teams. You live in syllable teams. Syllable types, vowel teams. You are heavy in vowel teams, okay? BAM, vowel teams. Then decoding. They're still working on letter sound correspondences, but they're looking at irregularly spelled ones, okay? Inconsistent spellings, okay? Ones that break the rules, right? Or they don't really break the rules, they just have uncommon rules for those spellings, okay? They're looking at morphemic units such as prefixes, un, re, pre, dis, miss. Look how heavy. Okay, third grade. They know it all, don't they? Yeah, they will. They will. As we work through the process and as our kindergarten kids go up from kindergarten, first grade to second grade, they will, by the time they get to third grade, know these things. But right now, we're having to just build the plane in flight. Okay? Go back and pick up the skills that our kids don't have under control. What's neat about this has a link in it, and I will send this out to you digitally as well because you can pull it up. Third grade, you are all heavy in decoding prefixes, and it gives you the top ones that kids have to know. Okay? So, another big picture. Any questions about that? Because before I move on, I think that's going to provide some clarity with our big school continuum as we see kids all along that continuum. But you needed to get a vision of what's grade level.
I have a question, and sorry, my apple's really hard, so.
You okay?
It is. On this one, like I noticed that this is not in the order.
Right, it's not in order, it's just a list.
Okay, sorry. You may
That's
have
good.
said that, but.
I'm glad you brought that up. This is not in order, it's just a list.
Right.
Okay.
Okay? Good point.
Then we
Any
need
questions
order.
about that? Huh?
I said the same thing.
So as we're using Haggerty and phonetic connections, and we have kids' lips, as we're using those resources, we know what kids have to master. So if we have things in kindergarten that we know is on the second grade continuum, we're not going to spend all of our time there. We're going to spend our time on the kindergarten skills. Now, those kids that have sailed through those kindergarten skills, yeah, they'll get up there to that second grade stuff. But right now, they're living in the kindergarten world on the skills. Okay? Does that provide some clarity? Okay. Next thing, we're going to watch a couple of videos. Okay, just as a quick review, explicit teaching. It is a must, okay? It is systematic, it's direct, it's engaging, okay? We tell them and then we tell them why, okay? We are clear in our directions. We have a scope and sequence that we follow. That's what systematic is. All the research says it must be explicit and systematic, okay? So, and also engaging. You can't bore them to death.
Is there any way we can get a copy of that?
The PowerPoint?
No, just what you just showed, that.
Yeah.
Explicit
Yeah.
teaching.
Okay, multisensory, what does that mean? It means we hear it, we see it, we touch it, we have movement, okay? Give kids more than one way to connect to the learning. The reason why we do it multisensory is, one, it's not boring. I mean, it doesn't bore them. And it also helps the kids to connect it to long-term memory. But if it's gonna engage them and keep their attention, we're gonna do something where they're gonna have to touch, move, something, because it's boring otherwise. Okay? So, now, I want you to take notes. You're gonna watch a teacher in first grade. Now, I know you all teach all grade levels, but I want you to watch her, how she teaches it explicitly, because you can do that in any grade at all, with your own standards, okay? She's gonna be teaching a lesson on phonics and then phonics. So be sure to write down the teacher's directions to the students and what is explicit and systematic about it, okay? You can even follow along with the teacher.
Alright guys, let's get started this morning. Let's each get our sound tiles out. We're going to get our listening ears warmed up. Line your tiles up.
I feel like I have 6 of these guys. You want 4 again. No, that's 5. See?
Line your tiles up.
How many bucks in history? Yeah, I got 4 yesterday. I only have 4. But that's 5.
Router's ready.
Ava's ready.
Ava's ready. Caden's ready. Alright, so we're going to continue practicing deleting part of the blend at the beginning of a word to make a new word. Okay? Watch me as I do one for you. I'm going to say the word fleet, and I'm going to count the sounds I hear in fleet. Ooh. Eat. Fleet. How many sounds?
4.
I'm going to use 4 of my tiles, and now watch me. I'm going to say the word fleet across my tiles. Ooh, eat, fleet. Now if I take this tile, this all away, I still have eat, feet. Okay? All right, do one with me. Let's say the word slope. Say slope.
Slope.
Let's count the sounds we hear.
Oh.
Slope. How many sounds?
4.
4. Let's get our 4 tiles ready, and let's say the word slope across our tiles. Oh. Slope. Okay. What's this sound? What's this sound? What's this sound? Slope. Now if we take our all away and touch and say what we have left. Oh. Soap. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, let's do one more together. Let's do bleach. Say bleach.
Bleach.
Count the sounds you hear in bleach.
Each. Bleach.
All right, touch and say them across your tiles.
Each. Bleach.
Very good. Now take all away. Touch and say what you have left.
Beach. Beach.
Very good. All right, now I'm going to watch you do something.
I do, you do, we do.
Say the word
I do, we do, you do.
rock.
Rock.
Okay, count the sounds.
Rock.
Very good. How many sounds did you hear?
4.
4. All right, touch and say them again across your tiles. Okay, take away. What do you have left? Let's go back. Let's put the back in. Here we go. Let's touch and say rock. Rock. Take away and touch and say what you have left. Bach. Very good. We'll practice more of that later. Okay, let's put our tiles back in.
That was hard.
That was harder.
They were in the middle.
I knew I was saying block at first. Are we going to get a whiteboard like we did yesterday?
Are we going to do a
Are we going to do
whiteboard?
the whiteboard like we did yesterday?
Oh, we will.
Oh, yes. Yesterday was like there's them in here, but it's just easier. 4 or 5, 4 or 5, 4 or 5. And then it ended up in 5
explicit, systematic. Go ahead.
I like how she explicitly, this is something I don't do, told them, what the step was. Like usually I'm saying, hey guys, we're gonna do something new today. And then I just say, and I do an example, but I like how she says, we're gonna delete part of the blend in the words.
She stated her.
Yes, teaching them the vocabulary, a blend,
Yeah.
a phoneme. You know, teaching them the words. What else did you say?
Reviewing at the very beginning, so she connected it back to what they were doing yesterday, so like they're continuing on.
What
And
else?
she was clear about that, explicitly saying.
She really used like precise mouth movements and made sure her pronunciation was very clear.
Same steps every time.
Every time, same steps every time, yep. Okay, now she's moving right into phonics, and we'll show you a little bit of the phonics.
And how long was that first part? Do you know, does it tell you?
Like 3.5 minutes on that part.
Definitely, that is the very first skill that Kirkpatrick tests when you go to the phonemic awareness level. And I'm looking at his test right now, and that's basic phoning, late kindergarten to first grade, is what he says that is.
Yeah.
For
like in the
typically
spring,
achieving
Our
readers.
little kinders in the spring are gonna be doing this.
It goes 4. I had
For where?
4 yesterday. I had 4.
All right. All right, so we've been learning about when we hear k at the end of a one-syllable short vowel word, that there are 2 letters that make that sound. What 2 letters make the k sound at the end of a one-syllable short vowel word? Ryder? CK.
I was
So today,
absent that day.
we are going to practice writing some words that have the k sound at the end, like the word snack. I can say the sounds I hear in snack. I hear snack. Is snack a one-syllable word? Does it have 1 short vowel? So when I write the word snack, snack, I'm going to need to put a CK at the end because of the short vowel sound in snack. Okay? So today we're going to practice writing the sounds in some words that have that at the end.
This one is right here. It just like hurts. It hurts.
Can we take care of that other group? Okay. All right, everybody got a marker? All right.
No, are we gonna read a book after this? I'm just getting one again. Are we gonna read a book after this? Okay, so
All right, okay. All right, watch me.
Oh, sorry.
I want us to think about the sounds we hear. Captain Marker, lay it down. You don't need anything right now. Okay, just your ears. Here we go. I want us to listen to the sounds we hear in stuck. Say stuck.
Stuck.
I got stuck in the small space. Now let's count the sounds we hear in stuck. How many sounds do we hear?
4.
4 sounds. Let's look at our board. Let's put our finger on the purple row, and let's say the word stuck. Ready? Stuck. What sound did we hear first? Ryder? What letter makes that sound? S. Let's put an S in our first box.
I'm kind of hard to open. I know. It looks like this.
Okay, now let's say the word stuck again, and let's think about the next sound we hear. What's the next sound, Kaden?
T.
T says T. Let's put that in the next box. All right, say the word stuck again, and this time we're going to listen for our vowel sound. Ready? What vowel makes the sound? Ava? U says Let's put our U there.
Sometimes I'm making like 8.
And is a short vowel sound or a long vowel sound?
Short.
It's a short vowel sound. So what 2 letters are going to go on the end of the word stuck?
CK.
CK.
It looks like yours is upside down.
All right, now let's cap our marker and let's run our finger under our word and read the word stuck. Hang on. Let's sit together, ready? Stuck. Very good. You ready? Stuck.
I don't have any eraser. I can use it with my fingers. I don't think that would be a good idea. No, that's what it's called. Jones.
All right, let's do one more together. Let's think about the sounds we hear in sack. Say sack.
Sack.
I carried my sack out of the store. Let's count the sounds we hear in sack. How many sounds?
3.
3. This time we're going to look at our green row. All right, let's put our finger under the first box and let's say the word sack. Say it slowly.
Sack.
Very good. What's the first sound we made? Ryder? What letter spells that sound?
I'm sorry. I don't have one.
All right, let's listen for the middle, the vowel sound we hear in sack. Say it again. What's the vowel sound, Esperanza?
A.
A says let's put our A in the middle. And then what sound do we hear at the end of the word sack? What sound do we hear, Kaden? And when we hear k at the end of a short vowel, one syllable word, what 2 letters do we need?
CK.
CK, make that sound. All right, run your finger under it, read that word.
Sack.
Very good. Erase. And let's do one by ourselves. I'll say the word, you'll count the sounds, and then you'll write the sounds, okay? Our word is rock.
Rock. Is it 3?
Okay. Okay, so say it across your tiles here. Okay, what do you hear first? Very good. What's the vowel sound in rock, Ryder? Ah. And what letter spells that sound? Good job. All right, y'all erase your boards. Let's get ready to do some reading.
Okay, so what did you hear that was explicit and systematic about that part?
She repeated the phonics rule several times.
Many, kept, with the short vowel, CK makes the k sound many times. What else
She
did you
had a
see?
teaching point, like they said, and then we started with the review and then, told them what the point of the lesson, or what they're doing today.
What else did you see?
She related the words to meaning, so instead of just saying stuck, she put it in a sentence.
In a sentence. Well, we're working on that meaning. What else?
Again, there was that repeated process. This is how we sound it out. This is what we do on a board. This is how we, you know what I mean? There was that step-by-step process for each word.
And I know, and I'm working with some, well, practicing, getting ready to start working with some 5th graders on a new system that's more explicit than what I was doing, because I was waiting for that system to come in. And I'm having to teach myself to stop, not just assume. Like, I'm like, oh, I gotta say that step again. I gotta say that step again. I gotta say that step again. But that's the reason why. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab the lights.
Also, she had all her supplies very handy and it didn't take long to pass them out or collect them.
No,
And she
didn't.
had some really great supplies.
She did.
And a little whiteboard like
I was waiting on one of y'all to say, where did she get those whiteboards?
I do like those boards.
Because I had that same thought when I watched the video. I was like, where did she get those? Because it had one tile, then for one sound words, and it had 2 tiles, and then it had 3, and then it had 4, and then it had 5. So the green row was the 4, so if they heard 4 sounds, and the I think it was a purple row had it, they had 5. I don't know where she got those, but I was like trying to blow up my video looking at it. But definitely I'm going to be reaching out to the co-op to find out where did they get those? 'Cause
We
that's
have that in
pretty cool.
paper, but then the community ought to copy it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
We have
our
the exact
work
thing
maps
in a
kind
paper.
of are like that. They're numbered
But-
with
2 L-phone boxes, 3, 4,
Yes,
and 5.
say that
But
same
put it in
thing.
a, put it in a plastic sleeve and use dry erase marker.
You can,
That's true.
Yeah,
yeah, we have that.
Or you can
laminate.
just buy us the really good ones that are
Yeah.
not the.
Miss Moneybags are very
Good.
That or the, you know the little sticky notes,
Yeah.
little bitties? Putting them on a piece of paper is like 2, 3, 4, and then laminating it, you know, but, yeah.
One of the things that Leanne said yesterday was, just take a paper that has all the squares on it. And the kids actually trace that many boxes.
The grid
So for
paper.
a sack, they actually put a marker around 3. And then,
Okay, tell it again.
You could do that. and
so
see
she
if
was just saying, take a paper, just take a paper, and the kids make their own, well, the paper has all the grid paper, right? So the kids with their markers or pen or whatever, they have to go.
Because you can get 1-inch grid paper, you can get centimeter grid paper, 1 inch. Yeah,
One
they
inch.
make their own.
I don't know if it's.
Which is a lot,
Well,
what
and I'm
we're
thinking-
underlying for each phoneme, the same.
And as we get up into upper grades with kids that like having to take apart multisyllabic words, being able to do that, and then, you know, attach the meaning of
Well,
the.
that's what she has.
She's got it.
She done found them.
How'd you find those at?
I went on Amazon. She's a shopper.
She's a
How much are those?
6-pack for $19.99.
That's
You
bad.
can do that.
You can do that.
You can.
Send it to me and see if I have money.
And that's the back.
Okay, send it to me and see if I have money for those. At least I can do a 6-pack.
I'm only gonna need 5.
And then can we see the reading room?
Okay, before we do, I want to ask, show you this next one.
You're only gonna need 1 pack of 6, really.
Yeah,
Just
because
small,
you
small
want-
print.
I think I could swing for that, but let me just send it to me so I don't forget. All right, let me show you another video that's a teacher tip that might be helpful. And the only thing I don't like about this video is when the kid's going through the process, the teacher doesn't stop and give them isn't as explicit as the first teacher. The teacher doesn't give the phonics rule for when the kid misses it, okay? But this is still a cool little resource that could be helpful for blending, especially with kids who are struggling, even kids up in the older grades that are struggling with some lower grade skills, if they need an independent practice thing to do.
Hi everyone, so we are going to work on a video to help children decode and sound out letters to make words. So what I did was take this spiral notebook from the dollar store and I just cut into 3 sections, and then on the top I cut it into 2 sections. And so it creates a flip book, and her task is going to be to sound out the letters that she's seeing and to make a word. So some of the words will be actual words and some of the words will be nonsense words. I had a parent ask how I felt about nonsense words, and while it seems kind of silly, the reason why we use nonsense words is because we want to make sure that children can decode and they have phonemic awareness no matter what the letters are and what it spells, because sometimes they memorize real words and we think that they know how to decode, but it's actually that they just memorize the word. So when we use nonsense words, they have no choice but to figure out the actual letter sounds and try to create a word. So when Cameron does this, she tries to go as fast as she can, but when she's first starting to learn this, you want them to go slowly, and you want them to point to the letter and say the sound. And then you decide when you want to change how they're doing the blending. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But in.
So I want you to turn the first letter.
In. In. But in. In. But in.
Okay. So now I'm going to have her turn this one, and she's going to say the sounds again.
But in. But on. But on. But at. But in.
Nope.
But
This sound is ain.
but
I wish you would have taught them said the vowel team. AI says a.
And so when you hear them saying sounds and they're not pronouncing it all the way, you want them to go back and say all the sounds.
A, thing. D, a, ding. A, bang. A, he. A, bang.
Okay.
Air, care. Air, dare. Air, trair. Air, flare.
Can you go back to this one? What blend is this?
Pull,
There you go. Say it again.
pull, air, flare. Air, share.
So now, once you've gotten past that part, the next step in the practice, separating this notebook into 3 sections. And what you're doing is changing the beginning, middle, and ending sounds for them. So this is where a lot of the nonsense words will come in, but this is also where you'll be able to hear whether or not they can understand sound. So one thing I want parents to understand is there are certain patterns that happen with words. So at the very beginning when you're practicing this, you want to practice the CVC pattern, which is a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant. And when that pattern happens, this vowel will be short. So let's practice that.
A, sh, n, shan.
See how it's becoming more difficult? They have to rely on actual decoding skills versus words that they already know.
E, n, shin. I, n, shin. On, n, Sean. Ch, on, Sean. Wait,
You
yeah.
want to do that again?
On, n, Sean.
Good.
On, g, chog. Og, bog. I, g, big. I,
Try it again. There you go.
I, g, big.
Not it.
I,
Ed. Good. So try it again.
I, g, big.
There you go. Very good. Okay, and so now you can get into what's called CVVC, which is consonant, vowel, vowel, consonant. So this gets more difficult. You wouldn't start this right away, but I just wanted to show parents who have older readers who are struggling with decoding. So you also need to make sure that they understand what these 2 vowel sounds mean. So you tell them that before because you don't want them to continue saying this the incorrect way. So when E and A is together, it's going to make the long E sound for these words. So tell them that so that they're front loaded with that. And then let them try to sound out the words. And remember, they'll probably be nonsense words. Go ahead.
Ch, E, g, trig. Ch, eat, treat. Eat, sheet. I,
No.
shape.
You all thought that was going to be a different word, huh?
Eight, grit.
Two.
Egg, break.
Okay, so what did you see that could be useful for your classroom in that video? Do a process with each other first?
practice is not. So they decided to do we could have all the different premixes just mixed and then talking about what it is about your because that's like it makes it
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like if they have, it's like I can't make my O in there, and I put a dog, you know, C-O.
One last thing, I just want to hand you as a big picture thing, okay? Is just another big picture of where am I going? Where are we going, K2, where are we going 3 to 5? So at the end of our training, after we get all of our training, we're going to be proficient in all of these areas, but I only want you to focus in on the ones we've done the past 2 days, actually the foundational piece, and just phonemic awareness. So on your list, you'll see this is a chart. It's look-fors in classrooms. Once we've learned everything we need to learn and we make that shift, it'll show you what we'll be able to see in our classrooms and as we're teaching. So I want you to look only at, this is a big picture, okay? Only look at, we haven't had all the other training days, only look at phonological awareness. We haven't even done the phonics day yet, y'all. We've been training here, but we haven't done it overall with our district. I want you just to highlight some of the things you're already doing. It's time to celebrate again before you go. You all will look at fundamental expectations, and then even some morphology things. Morphology is there, and you might even use some CCs and word recognition. Some more. Okay? Only look at those boxes, not everything. And then highlight what you're already trying, what you're already stepping into. Because it's a celebration about baby steps, y'all.
So could we switch to vocabulary, because we are doing some of that for sure.
You all may be here, you may be doing some things here, you may be doing some things here, and you might be doing some things here. Because these all, it's where all those pieces from the words come together. So you'll see, you might see pieces of what you're already doing in those 2 spots. So you should, this is the bottom of Scarborough's rope and the top of Scarborough's rope. So again, as a celebration, we know we're in the thick of it. But look at what you're already starting to accomplish. So it's time for you to breathe and go, okay, I'm making progress in this big sea of learning. Okay? Okay, for next week. Isn't it next week? For anybody who comes. And please share these resources with your teammates. And we do have a video for those that would like to be able to watch it. For next week, I thought what I would do is go into front-loading some phonics, bringing in some videos for phonics that I can find, and then doing some things like syllable sorts and some things like that. But I want to hear from you as well. So do you think that's where you want to go? Give me some feedback. Because I can give you all a phonics test and let you take it and then determine where you want me to, I'm not going to score you. You determine where you want me to go with that based on you taking that too. That's a fun thing to do. I did that with my PLC the other day. Heather, Regina, and I both all took a phonics test, and we came and said, where do we need to start studying? So what do y'all want next time?
Phonics sounds fun.
Okay, I'm going to start with phonics. I'll do some activities. I'll bring some videos, some things like that, and I'll bring you some big picture things too. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You already wanted to
might do that.
That's a whole nother.
Thank you.